you've seen artists blow up and others stall, or you've seen them hit it and then kind of drop off. What do you think separates them from the ones who scale successfully to the ones that fizzle out?
There's so many factors. I think the biggest is just working hard. Everyone's going to be working, not just the artist, but the manager. They have to be working hard in sync and going together.
Yeah.
The manager and artists have to be in sync as well most of the time. They're going to have their tiffs. You're going to have your challenges, but they have to be in sync and running together. If you have an artist that's working harder than the manager, that doesn't turn out well. And if you have a manager that's working harder than the artist, like the same thing.
Have you seen that where an artist is working harder than a manager?
Maybe not working harder, but different direction, different goals, and it's just not communicating. The manager may have a different style of work, and it just doesn't mesh, and it's hard. Yeah, you got to be in sync.
This episode of the Gigs Podcast is presented by Gigs, the professional career platform for the live event industry. Now, as someone who's spent years in the touring world and live event world, I know how hard it is to get hired or to find people that you trust to hire. That's why we created Gigs. It's a platform built by people who've lived it. You can create a profile, find vetted jobs, or post roles and get matched with top-tier professionals. The industry is evolving. Don't get left behind. Visit gigs.live and join as a professional or an employer. Welcome to the Gigs Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Sanz, founder and CEO of Gigs, the professional career platform for the live event industry. Today's guest is someone who has truly worn every hat on the road. Ryan Whelpley is a touring director at Red Light Management with over 20 years of experience in live production. He started out mixing front of house at Nashville's Wild Horse Saloon, then hit the road full-time, tour managing the Gin Blossoms. And then when he was with the Lost Trailers, he did it all. TM, front of house, production manager, merch, van driver. He ran pre-show carpentry and automation for Tim McGraw, and then he spent nearly 7 years as Kip Moore's tour manager. So these days, Ryan oversees budgets, vendors, staffing, advancing, routing, anything and everything touring for a roster of artists at Red Light. Ryan, welcome to the Gigs Podcast.
It was good. You did a good job.
Thanks. You have quite a damn resume, man. And this is such a cool moment because you helped me with my first couple, what are they called?
Roundtable discussion.
That's it.
Yes.
You got like the most baller people in one room in Nashville. Because we met and you were like, I've been wanting something like this for forever. Yeah. We've been trying to build this. So let's get you the right people to like build this. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And that was fun. Like that was like during, we were just coming out of COVID still.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did masks or not, but.
Oh God. No, I think we were like, fuck that.
But there was Chick-fil-A.
I got so much Chick-fil-A. Dude, that was in my freezer forever. I ate it because I was also not working. Anyways, that was a crazy time. But you know, to have the people be like, you know, talking about pricing and how it should be laid out. And I'm not the first person to come up with this idea. It's just like the one who's stupid enough to take on the most debt to do this shit. Yeah. So you have this idea to do something like this because you lived it. What was the best job and the worst job you had in your past 20-year, you know, career? Which one that you look back and you're like, I don't want to do that again?
I might give you a generic response here, but like I was talking to somebody about this the other day of, maybe it was my mother, about I don't really have any regrets on my career. Maybe like certain things I might have turned down and then where they turned out. But each step had its main purpose to where I sit today. I know that sounds kind of generic and boring, but like the Wild Horse, going to school at SAE, like it just gave me my foundation of understanding sound in Nashville. And then the Wild Horse, it gave me like an intro just how to mix. Like that's where I learned how to mix like 6 days a week there.
Wow.
Lost Trailers. I mean, Gin Blossoms is great because like I didn't know anything. And like it was fun. It was good. And then Lost Trailers is where like I really started growing of like Gin Blossoms was an intro to the road. Lost Trailers was just like grind. And that's where I met a lot of my connections. And then I got to fine tune them with the skill sets with being on McGraw. And then Kip, it was my world, our world, Kip and I's. And then like, because I was the first guy in on Kip.
Oh yeah.
And then we built something and like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like your question was,
Kip was the first time that you didn't have to do like 6 different jobs.
But I still was like, I was touring. I was the first guy in. I was the first crew guy, and I was the first only crew guy there for like. But we were on a bus, and so like, I was helping grow a fast-paced, first time #1 artist, right? With his first single being #1, well, second single, and then help build all that. And so, but it's a grind, and like, it's a good opportunity for people. For instance, like when you can get in with an artist at an early level, and helped build it. Like, Juan Rubio, that's out with Red Clay Strays. He's like the first guy in. And the way he met them was being with El King and being the stage manager there, backline guy, took care of them. They loved him. And now Red Clays are flying, and Juan's a tour manager building a tour.
And is that a red light? Or, oh my gosh.
No, it's just friends.
But it's just like, that's wild, man. I saw them at the Ryman, and I was like, I think that was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
They did like 3 nights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it is, all right, you have a gig. That's not just your only gig.
No.
If you care for those openers, or you're kind of showing that you're a hard worker, you're going to get that next gig. That could be it. So then actually, I mean, we're going to go all over the place, but how did you get from tour managing then to Red Light?
So my last 3 artists were Red Light artists. Kip was Red Light artist. Kip is a Red Light artist. McGraw was Red Light at the time. And before that, the Lost Trailers were Red Light.
Got it.
And the Lost Trailers and Kip had the same manager. They were not at the same time, but they were the same manager. And so I did Lost Trailers for about a year and a half. We did like 150 shows, like by myself, and flying and driving. But you learn, like you grind. We opened for McGraw on that tour.
Yeah.
We opened for a bunch of people. And while I was with him, we did McGraw tour, and Lady A was on it. So making those connections. And that's when Need You Now was exploding. So like I just sat with their old tour manager yesterday because he's in a Red Light now. But my last previous artists were Red Light artists. So I've been working with Red Light since 2009. And when I was transitioning off the road, because my wife and I got married in 16, had a kid at the end of 16, and I didn't want my kids knowing I was always on the road.
Yeah.
And so in it, a guy named Sean McSpadden, who was Kip's manager, Tom Lord, Tom Betchy, they helped create this position for me to come in-house and work with our up-and-coming artists and take care of all their touring. And I thought of this idea from having open acts with us and seeing how much help they need on the road. Because you have a day-to-day manager that may not necessarily be great at touring, but those details need to be taken care of. And that's normally who it falls onto, like advancing shows. And if you've never been on the road, you don't get it. Respectfully, like, it's hard. Like, and that's kind of how this idea came about. And so when I came into Red Light, I tried to go to all the managers and see who needed help. And
everyone needed help.
I mean, I work with, you said, in the bio it says touring director.
Right.
I'm not the guy. Like, I'm an option for all of our managers.
Yeah.
And some I work with, some I haven't touched yet, but yeah.
So that's kind of doing all the things for the smaller acts. And then are you still helping with the larger acts?
Yeah. So I get pulled into all levels of things. Like, I don't really touch the Stapletons or the Dirkses per se. I'll get calls maybe on staffing on them, see if I have any ideas. But I'm more dealing with our emerging artists and some of our mid-level artists that are moving fast, in the sense of like Jordan Davis and Parker McCollum and Laney last year and the year before, of like they scaled really fast. Yeah. And they needed some help, especially Laney and Jordan, where they were going from a van and trailer 3 years ago. Well, Jordan was, but going from just scaling from smaller vehicles to 6 and 6, right?
Right.
And 50 plus staff, and like just that scaling. And it's hard if you haven't done it before. And it just, and so I get pulled in a lot of that. I have another one we're working with, Gavin Adcock. He's kind of moving fast. And like, he's the same thing. He didn't have a tour manager a year ago, and now he's moving into multiple buses and multiple trucks.
Wow.
Right.
It's that quick now.
It's fast. Sometimes you do. Like, I mean, yeah.
And so you're helping with the routing and budgeting.
I'll help with whatever each manager and artist needs. Like, because each camp is different. Some are well staffed. Some have maybe veteran managers that are doing it for the second time, or they have a manager that's the first time doing it. And so it just depends. Each camp is different. Some need more help with advancing. Some need more help with the budget side of it. Some may just need staffing. Like, it's all a wide variety. I
mean, it's kind of like me doing this job. It's like straight up a tech company, corporate. Like, who am I? But I still get to be involved in this industry.
Yeah.
You still get to like tour, but you get to go to bed in your own bed every night.
Yeah, that's part of the saving grace. I still go on the road a little bit. I'll maybe do like 50 days a year, but I'm not that guy that's waking up at 8 a.m. for walking, or 7 a.m. for walking chalk, and going to bed at 2 a.m.
Right.
Make sure the drivers are safe.
You've earned that.
I think so. But like, I get nervous of talking about this because like there's people that like the Mark Oglesbys, right?
Oh yeah.
And the Kate Gosses, like they've toured on the A level for so long, and I respect their level, but I also respect there's value in both levels, right?
Totally.
And I get nervous talking about it sometimes. Like I'm worried about like who's gonna text me. Like, oh, I don't know. I get nervous.
Hush.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you could, in the role that you have right now, and also you saw touring so intimately and you're seeing all the good and bad of it right now, if you had a magic wand and you could fix how tours are run, if there was like one thing that just drives you crazy, what do you wish could be better?
I don't think it's like a overall fix, a big swoop, but like the one thing I wish I could do better at is get in the ear of whoever I'm working with, like the artist or the manager, and not necessarily that they need to listen to me, but like I try to make a lot of this a teaching opportunity to help growth for expansion. Not necessarily just them listening to me, but like don't forget to loop me in on everything. Sometimes I get forgot about stuff because like it'll be a lot of times I get a call to help fix stuff. But I was just having a call walking in, like loop me in when the offer comes in, loop me in when the routing comes in, like let me be part of that. That's one fix I would like to be part of. But on a touring side, I don't know. That's a good one.
It's tough. When you were driving the van, when you were selling merch, like, is there anything that could be fixed about this industry? That
there's so much, right?
There's so much,
but it's gotten better over the last 20 years. Like it's a different world, especially this side of COVID.
What in what ways?
I think people are learning to have more respect to people's time. People are learning how to say no. That like, I think one of the things I learned during COVID was that if everything's important, nothing's important.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to set boundaries for yourself. And people I'm seeing in this next generation, they're willing to say no, or I'm not comfortable in doing something. And that may rub some dinosaurs or older people the wrong way, but we gotta get current, or we're gonna get pushed out.
Yeah, or people are just gonna be miserable.
Yeah,
and we're gonna lose more people in the industry.
Right. Coming back from COVID, your product, your gigs was so valuable because, as you know, there wasn't many people that didn't come back. Yeah. There was so many people I'd call like in the end of 20 and beginning of 21, like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm done. I survived without touring. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. When people realize that they don't have to do it anymore, a lot of people are like, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, that's, and thank you for just believing in gigs, being like, I think our first company to sign up too. And like, you're using the heck out of it. So thank you for that.
It tries to make my job a little easier.
I'm so glad.
It's so hard. It's like staffing is relational, right?
Right.
And we can just filter through some basic details and know who to go after, and initiate conversations. See who is interested in having a conversation, but may already have a job.
Right. Could be used for the next one or whatever. Right. Just having that. So many people in your pocket. So you joined Tim McGraw's team as an automation tech, and what were the other things you did with him?
So I was originally hired as to run his pre-show VIP experience. He had a sponsored tent for, I think it was either Outback or Pennzoil that year. And so I was hired to set it up, mix it, tear it down, that kind of stuff. Low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
And then the second day of rehearsals over at the Annex, production manager came up and said, hey, do you want to learn automation? I was like, sure. Just say yes and figure it out, right? That's our business, is like have a good attitude, show up, say yes, figure it out. And I spent the next 2 weeks, because there wasn't much to pre-show to do in rehearsals. And so I spent the next 2 weeks programming these video walls that went up and down. I'm programming the motors. And
can you kind of get into detail about that? I've never actually had anyone in automation.
Listen, I'm not an automation.
We have the expert on automation right here.
That's not me. There's a guy named Robert Moore. Call Robert. He's over at Tate. But automation, it's hard. And this was 2011, where they had this software called Fisher, and Tate recently bought. I don't know when Tate bought it, but there wasn't many people in the world that could run the software. So they flew this girl in from Tate. She helped program with me for like 2 weeks, because the automation tech that was coming, Robert Moore, he was over with Kylie Minogue and finishing a tour in Europe. He wasn't meeting up with us for another 2 weeks into the tour, and so I got thrown into like program 3 video walls going up and down.
Oh wow!
And it was hard.
So it's a lot of the automation is the pre and during rehearsals,
sure.
So that during the show, are you guys pushing the buttons to make it happen?
Yeah, you hit and go. But automation can be flying people. It's anything moving, right? But I am nowhere an automation specialist.
Yeah, no, that's super cool.
But I did do it, so I'm okay putting it on the resume. And someone saw me do it.
But how, I was talking to someone recently. This is so important. If you are going to be a tour director or a TM or a PM, if you're in a leadership role, if you know how long all of those jobs actually take to do,
Sure.
you can better lead them. Oh, you're bullshitting me or whatever it is.
I think it's good to understand what everyone does to get their job done.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit more than just surface level. Mm-hmm. So like, not to pat my own back, but I understand how to advance a show from tour management side. I know how to plan a show from tour management, production side. I know how to budget. I know how to settle. Like, I understand the audio side. I know basic lighting, basic video. And I think it helps me do better in my job to understand what conversations to have.
Totally. Okay, so you just said on a budget. Aren't all tours on a budget of some kind?
You would think.
Okay, tell me.
You would think. Like, I think on major tours, arena and amphitheater and stadium, they have a full budget, right?
Yeah.
But I have, with some newer up and coming artists, you may just say you may get a $2,000 guarantee or offer, and you're a 5-piece band, and you got to drive somewhere or fly somewhere. You may just be taking that for the opportunity to get in front of people and take the loss, right? And those managers may not necessarily run a budget. I try to catch them and run a budget just so they understand, and you get good training. Like, here's the cost.
Yeah.
Here's your cost, right? I had one a tour that's finishing now, but we were going on sale back in March, and I had just gotten the dates like a week before going on sale. And I ran the numbers. I said, guys, there's a loss here. You can't go on sale here. It was like a $60,000 plus loss for a new artist in a van hitting major markets. Like, it was a good looking tour for the artists, and they were excited about it. But I had to put a little bit of reality into it. Like, is it worth this value? Can we reroute this and not start on the West Coast? Let's start on the East Coast. And
how does that help?
Well, getting to the West Coast is expensive, and then you got to stay out there on your off days. You have hotels, you have meals, and then West Coast is expensive. Like, LA is not a cheap city. San Francisco is not a cheap city. I have a day off. But there's also learning there, so that when the next time we have to plan this, that we don't get the artist's hopes too high and then have to bring them back. You keep them in check a little bit. Yeah. Because one of the challenging things is, like, on all levels, is that you give the artist's hopes and expectations high, and then you got to manage those expectations. And if you can't hit certain markers that you set, then you're almost failing a little bit.
So it's like you would rather sell out a small club for a whole tour than do too big of a market.
I maybe overset my boundaries, and I might get a call from people at Red Light, but I like underplaying a lot. Like, meaning, like, if you can sell 2,000 or 3,000 Chicago theater in Chicago, maybe go play Joe's for 3 nights and sell 900 a night, right? Underplay and give people the fear of missing out of.
Cool.
Right? Instead of having 80% and 3,000, let's have 100% for 3 nights at 900. I don't know. As long as it makes sense economically in production, like, there's a lot of factors to it, but.
Well, that's also helps with the 10,000 hours thing too. Do you ever see an artist that, like, blows up on TikTok or something, and they go and play almost too big of a stage for them, and they needed, Yeah,
you need reps, right? I think this whole business is all about reps of, like, how many trips around the sun before you masters or just learn how to do something. Like, reps of doing show, reps of loading in, reps of challenges, of, like, flight challenges, hotel challenges, like, just everything, right? Production challenges, like, you don't have enough feeder to reach your power to your whatever power you don't have, like, all of it. You need reps. Reps gets it. And I think that's what the Wild Horse and Lost Trailers was great for me, because I was mixing 6 days a week, different bands, and, like, you see different things. And then Lost Trailers, like, we had a variety of small clubs, fairs, festivals, to opening, to headlining, like, you get put in different positions. And
Did you ever have off days with those gigs?
In my 20s, like, I really started touring when I was like 24, like, heavily. Like, I'd done stuff before that, but from 24 to like 34, my goal was to be gone. And, like, I devoted my 20s just to touring. And so I had, like, a span of maybe like 08 to 13, I wanted to be gone 200, 250 days a year.
Crazy.
Just to, like, just do it. But for the people that are listening, like, there comes a sacrifice with that, like, personally. Like, everything else gets delayed. Everything in life gets delayed, and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it. I thought it was.
Yeah, because if you're not living your life here, you're living it out there.
Right.
Yeah, this is just stalled. That's wild. It's a totally different life when you're out.
Yeah. Because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's your life.
You went to SAE to study audio then, and now you're not doing anything audio. Do you ever miss that?
Sometimes. I still mix at church. Like, that's fine. But
I love it.
I'll go if I have an artist like rehearsing at like Claire or a sound check or SIR. I'll go and like maybe dial up a mix from like front of house, something that like no one really cares to hear. But sometimes, but not necessarily. Like I had hit a cross when I finished McGraw in 11. I hit a crossroad if I was going tour manager or production manager, and I don't like dealing with power like electricity. Like I don't like it. I don't like it. I got shocked once and I just don't feel like dealing with it.
Wait, can you tell that story?
No, that was embarrassing.
Let's hear it. Come on, you got it.
No, I just pulled the wrong thing and yeah.
How badly did it electrocute you?
No, not bad. Just like
Okay.
a little more than like when your kid like sticks a fork in the socket,
But it did something to you.
yeah.
I've never been shot. I'm so scared of that.
It wasn't anything too bad. It was just I just don't like power. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that would be on more production side?
Yeah.
Okay. So TM is dealing more people side.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you like that?
I like helping. I care mostly about the thing that interests me is the logistics side of it. It's a puzzle, right? Every day is a new puzzle to try and find to give your artists and band and crew consistency of each day what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And I like that puzzle. I like the puzzle of moving people and working with the venues and working with your promoters and trying to bring in a positive attitude with good people and like leave the venue feeling like with good relationships, with good like a good memory of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know if you're going to answer this. You don't have to. But have you ever left a venue being like, they're not going to be happy when we come back?
Not necessarily. No, I mean like early on you have the bars that you go to that some people may overstep their boundaries sometimes, but I feel like specifically like with Kip that we normally left people wanting more and having like a good positive energy because it really does start at the top. If you have an artist that is difficult to work with or there's a challenge and makes higher hurdles than people need, it rolls downhill. And if you have an artist that is understanding and you also know how to protect that artist if they have challenging days and you bring a different face or light to the energy of the day, then that's kind of your job as production manager or tour manager.
So if you kind of have an asshole TM or PM, it's kind of like you can assume the artist might not be the best.
Sometimes.
Maybe. Have you ever seen it where the artist is like the best, but their manager is so mean because like maybe that artist just needs someone else to be mean for them?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure, like I'm sure it's there where they need the artist to have a certain face or the tour manager have a certain like face for the tour and the artist.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we all gotta be chameleons, right? Mm-hmm. We gotta adapt to our environments to get the end result, and that's the artist on stage to do their show.
I feel like that's such an interesting point because I feel like the crew that get fired or don't fit in or do well are the ones that are not chameleon that are like bringing all of theirs. Well, on this tour we did this, on this tour we did this, but it's like no, but you're on this tour now and just get with this vibe.
Yeah.
For anyone who's in a camp that they just aren't really vibing with, but they're like, I have nothing else. Do you just say like put up with it and like figure it out, or would you say like if it's not for you, get out? Like what would your advice be for that?
I think there's also every camp. Dan McGee talked about this at Lidditz last year. The thing that stuck in my brain maybe 2 years ago. Find the spirit of the camp. Like what's the energy of the camp? What's the spirit of the artist? What does the management want? What's the energy of the camp?
Yeah.
And try and find people that match that have good work ethic. Sometimes you're gonna have that outlander that may not fit the vibe, but they do a great job and it just works to get an end result. But for crew that don't feel like they match in the camp, do business properly. And what I mean by that is you can't quit on Thursday and go to another gig on Friday and tell them you quit. That's bad business. You're going to get yourself blackballed and people are going to find out. But if you don't fit in, like finish what you committed to and then find something else. And as you're trying to find something else, you have to let the people around you know, like, or start having conversations with people. Hey, I'm looking for a change. What you got? You can be like discreet about it. And you know who the people you can talk about that and who you can't.
Yeah.
But you have to do business properly by not leaving people high and dry, right? I had it I had it maybe twice where like someone quit on me like a day before bus call, and first time it was a learning lesson for me. Like I was young and I responded real quickly, and I not necessarily cussed the guy out, but like said stuff I shouldn't have, and I had to backpedal and apologize years later. But then you learn from it because like you're the tour manager. You got to adapt and adjust, figure it out. Like, at the end of the day, it's your job. But to answer your question, I do business properly. Like, give a good leeway, communicate from both sides.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, even from the artist side. If they're not working out, make sure you give them a heads up. And if it is quick, compensate them for that. Like, compensate them for the time that they were planning on getting. Unless like something atrocious happens and they do something stupid that's like, okay, you're fired. See you later.
Yeah. But what you don't have to say from personal experience, but what is an example of something where it's like you're gonna get rid of them? Like they're not coming on the bus that night.
You know, if they're overstepping their boundaries, whether it's with fans or with the crew or making a wife or spouse or child upset, or I saw a truck driver get fired because they went up to the artist's mom in the video world, and the artist's mom was an artist as well. It's like, and started taking pictures. Like, okay, yeah.
There's that balance of you got to be, If you're a fan person yourself, you should probably not work backstage if you can't help yourself.
Yeah. But it happens. It happens on every tour. I mean,
totally.
It happens.
I'm curious to dive into audio a little bit, if you want to talk about that. Because it's something that I think I always say that I have very like special ears. Like usually just most noises annoy me. Like I'm one of those like But I do feel like, I would love to learn how to just mix live. I would just like the most basic, because it's fascinating when I go to a certain venue and I'm like, something's just off, and it's hard to have language to it. So how do you learn the language to noise and to sound? And if you have any like, I don't know, little hacks for anyone that's getting into mixing live sound, like how do you make it crisp and sound the way that you need it to sound?
I'm not the expert on that anymore, but I don't know if I was an expert.
You studied it.
I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier. It's about reps. You gotta have multiple situations of mixing venues, different consoles, different PAs, different musicians, and like personalities, and handle like mixing Broadway is great for anybody that wants to come to town, because you have different rooms, different engineers, different musicians.
Yeah.
You just need to see it all, and you need to learn and hear and just make a mental note of when you have a situation. My simplest thing to describe audio is, and I'm probably gonna get calls from people like, no, that's wrong, but you guys think of how water flows. So water flows, your vocal is the water. It's going through the mic, through the XLR, to the console, back into the PA. And then in your console, you have all different ways that you can color the audio, whether you need your gain to get more coming to you, or you want to EQ it with hot or cold. You want to route it to different people. And so I was just explaining this to a kid. I have this kid at church. He's 10 years old. He helps me with sound, and explaining like sound of how to like. And when I gave him that scenario of like, think about water flowing through a pipe and what you can do with it, he kind of understood it.
Yeah.
But cool. Going back to your question of how to like,
I want to cut to this kid, and he's like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about.
He does. He's learning.
That's cute.
But back to your question of how you teach someone, it's reps. It's all reps, and being in scenarios and understanding basic signal flow and what affects the sound. And yeah.
This is so dumb, but what is the difference between a cordless mic and a mic with a cord? Like, why does all comedy always have a cord and music really doesn't?
A mic with a cord, obviously your signal's going directly to the console. That with wireless would be, it's just transmitting from the microphone to the receiver.
Yeah.
Difference or just flexibility in your movement, right?
Got it.
Some people don't trust. I think Martina's still on a wired microphone.
Really?
Yeah. I think she maybe her and Trish are still wired sometimes. Stapleton's wired, definitely.
I'm sure.
But like some people say they can hear the difference, and I'm sure they can. Those fine ears like that, like I'm sure they can. I'm not that good.
That's wild to think about. Okay, I just never knew. I was watching a comedy over the weekend, and I was like, why do they always have what's all right?
Yeah.
All right, so you're doing routing and budgeting. When you have a tour that is like a beautiful budget, you can spend, what is the important thing to put money into? And what is something that you're like, okay, we can still do budget on this?
Sure. I think you have to, goes back to the spirit of the tour, right? A lot of your money is going to be on payroll, travel, and production.
Got it.
When it comes to the artist, I was just talking about this the other day. If I was an artist, the two things I would focus on outside of production would be catering and travel. Like, it's just comfort of the road and like consistency. Like, good food goes a long way.
Yes.
Bad food goes a long way too. Like, it just makes a difference, right?
Right.
But budgeting, there's so much to it. There's so many levels of, when you're with an arena act, a stadium act, or with a new artist, like there's so many levels to it, and the goal is to have profit or minimize loss. Obviously, production is an important expense, and finding the balance of the artist's creativity and then the cost of all that. And there's a lot of times a budget will get decimated by not managing expectations production wise. We want this has been sold to an artist, this is the cost, and it's got to fit into 3 trucks we budgeted, but this is actually going to 5 trucks.
What is the price change for an additional truck or a bus?
Oh, there's so many variables, but generically, if you're making like a pre-budget and you're guesstimating, I put between $1,250 to $1,500 a day per truck per day.
Woof.
Right.
Does that include the person too?
Yeah, and the fuel. That's just that's a holder until you get your fine-tuned with your routing and the movements and the plans, your mileage, and then a bus. I've been holding like $2,000 a day.
Okay.
Right, just as like if I'm making a preliminary budget, I'm putting like around $2,000 to $3,000 a day.
Okay.
That includes the bus lease, all the costs on it, the driver. Sometimes fuel, sometimes not fuel, but.
That's why it's like, all right, we could get 2 more people, get a merch person and a PA. But if we do that, we have to get a bus.
Right.
Or if we do that, we have to get a second bus.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
And it's the planning and expectations of all that.
Yeah.
And what fits and like, what are you willing to sacrifice? A lot of my job is coming up with options. Here's 3 options. Which way do you want to go? Instead of me making a decision, we make the decision, try to make the decision together.
Are you working with business management on this?
It just depends on the camp, whether the manager's heavy involved or the artist is, or there's a tour manager or production. It just depends. Yeah. Camp to camp. Ideally, I work better when the business manager is involved.
Yeah.
Heavily. It just makes communication easier.
And they know what that artist wants too. So it helps
everyone's putting their input in to come up with that number. And I spend a lot of my time with these mid-level and emerging artists. And so the numbers don't change too much there. You're just trying to manage the loss sometimes and get that number to 0. Mid-level artists are that, bus and trailer, 2 buses and a trailer, bus and truck. They're making a little bit of profit.
Yeah.
But you're still managing expectations and like growth. And also it goes back to staffing. Like you may have a new tour manager, a young PM, TM that we're given a chance on. They may not understand everything. And so you got to take those lessons. And like I just had one last 2 weeks ago. Production manager's like, hey, can we move to a truck next week? I said, well, let me explain to you how this works. And so we went out and got quotes. I showed them the cost difference.
Yeah.
And like, this is why we got to wait till leg 3 to get a truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
And same with the artists. Of course, it varies. But like, I feel like we're seeing so many young artists have buses, like just their own buses. And it's like, well, do they realize how much money they could be making if they just didn't do that?
Agreed. Go and grind, right?
Yeah.
I coming from like that van world and grinding, I think everyone needs to go in a van. I think they just need to do a year or 2, sleep on the floor of that thing. And some of these vans are even nicer. Like I've had artists be like, I need a Sprinter instead of a 12-passenger. And can you afford it? And here's the cost of doing that. If you're okay with it, it's your money. I'm here. I can arrange it, but I would love you to make a little bit of money.
Right.
But
but like ego too.
Correct. When I started, there wasn't social media, and so you didn't see what your friends were traveling or what they were.
Yeah.
And there's part of that, like even with musicians and their negotiations and the crew and artists, like, well, my friend's in this one, why can't I be in this? And then you got to walk down that road. But that's amazing.
And you want to look bigger than you are. Maybe it could help sell tickets or whatever that appearance could do. Yeah. Social media has just changed it. I mean, everyone puts out the best. That's why everyone thinks touring's great. Yeah. I'm just kidding. It's great.
This is why I don't use social media.
So you already told me that you electrocuted yourself. What is another mistake you made early on that you were like, damn, I'm never going to do that again?
I feel like I've had a couple. Nothing show stopping. I had one early on where I had the wrong flight time on my day sheet. And my brain that was on the day sheet, I missed the flight, but the band got there. They were knocking out. It was great. They were going to a festival, and I knew someone else on the festival, and
Thank God.
they jumped in, mixed them, took care of it, whatever.
Wow.
But like,
The panic, though.
I don't think I've had any showstoppers. I haven't had any of those, and I feel like it's because I spend so much time with my details that it helps eliminate the showstoppers.
Yeah.
I never had one like where we missed a. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one a couple years ago. We're in Lady A tour, and this is partially me and the manager's fault. Where we're doing we were in Canada for the tour, Lady A. We're in Eastern Canada. We had to go to Vegas for a private, and then go to like Winnipeg. And we went commercial, and we should have gone private. But private in 2011 wasn't as common as it is now. It was expensive, right?
Got it.
And we almost missed the show because we got delayed in commercial travel. And Lady A's tour manager at the time, Kurt Jenkins, had to like, my crew got there. We had to split, band and I had to split up. Crew went because there's only so many seats left commercially. And we had to like have a police escort from the Winnipeg airport to get on site.
No way.
They walked in, changed their clothes, and like we got in 15 minutes before they got on stage. And like after that, it was like, Sean McSpadden and Kip had we had a stern talk about like this comes up ever again, like we got to look at this logistically, and this was early. This was 2013, 14, but like it that was one maybe.
Yeah. Ooh, what a crazy.
You don't ever want to admit like
the risk
because you go and do a private, but you're committed to it. The issue was we committed to this tour, so we need to lean in on the headliner and make sure we're doing what they help support the tour, but then you go get private money.
Yeah.
Tough routing, and then you may miss that. Like that's
you can't. That's so scary. Well, and hey, you're doing the private. You have maybe more of a budget to fly private back. Yeah.
As a lesson learned.
Whoa.
And so like when I have an act that has a similar situation come up where he's doing a couple of days with Morgan, but he's 15 hours away the night before. When I saw that on the route, I said private after the show immediately. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Make Morgan the priority, and then the other one.
Yeah. Wow. How often are artists doing privates? Is this becoming more common?
I mean, like in the off season, like.
Okay.
And then, there's always that private money, I guess.
Yeah.
And that helps fund a lot of things. And soft ticket dates, those help fund a lot.
Yeah. How pissed are you that Southwest is now charging for? What the hell are they doing?
I know, right? Do you see the thing from Delta? What Delta's doing?
No.
Delta immediately after or shortly after sent an email to everyone saying that if you have A-list or A-list preferred and you switch your show them that you have status on Southwest, they'll bump you up to gold and diamond or gold and silver, whatever. They'll give you status on Delta for 3 months. And in that 3 months, you have to just fly so many miles on Delta, and then you'll keep it till 2027.
Wow.
So I'm just A-list, and that I have gold on Delta now. I'm trying to find ways to get my Delta. I have to have it by like July 7th. So I'm like changing my travel to
Delta. Yeah. Wow.
But then you have it until you have, and it gave me gold.
Whoa. And what does that give you?
I don't know. There's been I've had some I've been able to grab free upgrades on a couple flights.
Nice.
And like automatic like Delta Comfort, and you have free luggage and stuff like that. But
you free luggage. Do you have lounge access?
I don't know yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, also, can you imagine if the touring world just started flying Delta? Everyone would be so happy.
The challenge with for sure. The challenge with Nashville is that Nashville has so many directs on Southwest that I think people are gonna adapt to it. It'll change the budget a little bit.
Yep.
And you'll ask the question of who's A-list preferred, and then you'll book those tickets or A-list. Right.
Oh, for like a early bird.
I think A-list gets one free check bag.
Oh,
Southwest changes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, this is how we run. It's so crazy.
But we'll adapt. It's annoying right now.
I know. Remember, like right after COVID, they were like, "Yeah, cancel anytime you want."
That was one of the greatest things come out. No offense, anybody had a bad COVID, but like,
that was amazing.
That was like a positive that came out of COVID. Like no change fees.
Now it's coming back though.
Change fees?
Yeah. I had one because I also don't. I buy the cheapest one. So then
You bought the basic.
Yeah.
Don't buy basic.
I know,
I was
right?
just talking to my mom about this. Like, don't buy basic. You can buy.
It's like
Delta
$40
Comfort.
more to just
Correct.
make sure you can get
It's fine. Nobody's gonna notice.
You're right.
It's fine.
I know, that's true. All right.
Like, be somewhat comfortable and like, don't buy basic because you can't change it.
I know. And I always have to change it. It's
Yeah.
so stupid. Yeah. All right. This is my moment where I will just, yeah.
I think Southwest will be fine. It'll be,
Yeah.
it'll be annoying for a little bit, and then some other news story will come along, and we'll be fine.
How do you manage your life right now, even though you're getting to stay at home, but you're still traveling a lot, and it's crazy. I mean, you have so many artists in your roster alone, and you are that go-to person for so many people. How do you manage your life with a family?
Compartmentalize, I guess. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
No, I think I have a good structure, and I get left alone in the sense of, I'm kind of like, I think my job is like a center in football where I just have to hike the ball perfectly every time. Mm-hmm. And I may get a couple of thank yous, but if you snap it bad once, like everyone's gonna let you know. I just try to eliminate that, right? It's like that mentality, and I'm okay. I don't need a lot of thank yous. I don't need all that stuff, but like I have structure. So like I have a sheet that has all my shows in it, and that's kind of like my to-do list for each week, each month. And I use that to project. And then I have my to-do list every Monday, and then Master Tour saves me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's my memory. Like they've been having some updates, so it's been lagging on people the last couple of weeks, but that helps a lot. And just to be able to flexibility to do my job, not necessarily in the office, but
Yeah.
I can still do it at home. And Red Light gives me a lot of freedom. I don't know if this is gonna get me in trouble, but I get free. I just have to have my job done.
Yeah. That's how every job should be. If you get the job done.
I get
Do
my
what
job
you need.
done. I gotta be available when people call, and
Yep.
I have to figure out. I do better when I have a little bit of a heads up. Sometimes
Yeah.
I get last minute stuff. Like I had an artist got booked on a show last night that has to be in South Carolina on Saturday. So it's like you have to rearrange stuff, but you know your priorities to get out for the week early in the week, so you can focus on your long term stuff later in the week.
When you have something like that and say you need a couple crew, and I've seen you post on gigs, thank you, like, hey, last minute, need someone
Yeah.
literally tomorrow. What are you looking for in people when you're like, okay, this is a last minute, I'm a little screwed, I really need help? Like what gives you that, you haven't tested this person out yet, what gives you confidence?
I think, let me think about this. Part of it is knowing, like, first I'll go to like people that I know directly and kind of understand, have an understanding what the tour needs or the artist needs last minute. And then go through my brain like, okay, here's who would fit here. Let me see if they're available or if this person's available.
Yep.
And then first I got to figure out like what the job entails, the money that's being paid for it, what's the travel, and then take that information.
Yeah.
And then normally when something's last minute, people are willing to spend a little bit more. Just want to get the job done.
Yeah.
But I'll start with my Rolodex, see who I think might be available. I'll look at on my master tours, like see who's not working maybe this weekend or that weekend.
Cool.
Is that available? Pull in like there was early in the year last year. Old Crow was down for a weekend. Had a thing where I needed people on the fray, and so pull a couple of their guys. They go knock it out, and like everyone's happy, right? Yeah.
Puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. Having access to people's master tour helps me a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh. All right. Shout out Master Tour.
Sorry.
So on the artist management side, you've seen artists like blow up and others stall, or you've seen them hit it and then kind of drop off. Like, what do you think separates them from the ones who scale successfully to the ones that fizzle out?
There's so many factors. I think the biggest is just working hard. Everyone's going to be working, not just the artist, but the manager. They have to be working hard in sync and going together.
Yeah.
The manager and artist have to be in sync as well most of the time. They're going to have their tiffs. You're going to have your challenges, but they have to be in sync and running together. And if you have an artist that's working harder than the manager, that doesn't turn out well. And if you have a manager that's working harder than the artist, like same thing, you got to be busting ass together.
Have you seen that where an artist is working harder than a manager?
Maybe not working harder, but different direction, different goals, and it's just not communicating. And the manager may have a different style of work, and it just doesn't mesh, and it's hard. And you got to be in sync.
Totally. Well, since you're working with so many different people and you're not like, you're working with so many different people, you can't be in everyone's sync.
Yeah.
What is your style?
Mine just to adapt to each camp.
Okay.
I have to be, like I said earlier, I gotta be a chameleon because I don't need to bring in any type of negativity to a camp. I need to just bring in and adapt to what they need and adjust, because at the end of the day, if I'm taking care of them, they're letting the people at Red Light know that I'm hopefully doing a good job. That keeps me at home.
Yeah,
so I don't have to go find my pizza delivery job of going on the road.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's the end goal.
Yeah.
For me, my end drive. And it's common, like people know this, but yeah.
Yeah. So adapting to them, that's so major. So I get some emails or messages that come in that I'm like screaming at my computer, or like I'm like, just the moment. What are those for you? That you're so cool, calm and collected to everyone you're talking to, but what are those issues that come in that you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
When it's last minute.
Yeah.
Last minute, and the expectation bar is set so high that, for instance, like you get an email on a Saturday night before Easter and they need someone for next Friday, and they need a TM. You need a bunch of people, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's Saturday before Easter. I know I got to work on this, but let me let this sit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just got to let stuff sit in my brain.
Yeah.
And sleep on it. And then I'll come back to it. And it normally works out. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it does work out. It figures itself out.
Yes.
But the last minute, I didn't know about something and it gets dropped. I mean, we're all about, you want your time respected, right?
That's probably it. Yeah.
Right? It's about respecting time, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone understands what I do, knows I do this, know I do touring. But also I have to be respectful in my response. Like, I do have the bandwidth or I don't have the bandwidth because of the other artists that I need to get taken care of.
Yes.
And I'm gonna do my best, but my bandwidth may be limited at certain times.
Right.
But if I get a good week or 2 week heads up, I can help you. I just got to get it inserted into my timeline of to-do list. But
do you use a certain tech to manage your to-do list? Or you
Microsoft Sheets.
Really?
just Google Sheets.
Google Sheets for your to-do list.
Every week, I just do a new one on Monday.
Okay. How do you like check something off?
Yeah. I print it off. I had to print it off.
Oh, nice.
And that's my notes for the week. And on
Yep.
the back has my shows. And then I put my notes there. I have a little notebook. And then the next week, as I'm doing my new one, I take those notes and put them in there.
Whatever was not done. Okay.
Yeah.
You must have hella tabs too. Of like, all right, this new week, or is it just like you just?
I do
that?
a new one for each one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you? I'm insanely OCD with my notifications. Like, I can't have unread notifications before I go to bed.
Yeah, turn the badge off so it doesn't show you the number.
Yeah, that's actually, oh my God, that's a really good idea.
That's the way you did it. Turn the notifications off, and then you look at it when your brain's ready to look at it.
Okay, so you do that for your phone with like text and with everything?
Email and text, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Or do you ever have it where you're like, the people that have like hundreds of unreads, I just will never understand. Okay.
I try to keep my inbox definitely less than 100, but normally close to like 50.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Friday. It's end of day Friday. Are you like, see ya? Or are you like?
No, I always have to be morning because that's
on.
like being heavily in the country world. It's
That's
Weekend
true.
Warrior. So like,
that's when shows are
I may
happening.
have anywhere between 9 to like 24 shows a weekend.
Jay.
And just gotta be like, I know when the phone call comes at a certain time, like I normally know what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But no, I have to be present on that.
Do you remember an experience or like a time where you were on the road and maybe you were getting to that point of like, I'm kind of ready to come off? Do you remember like a show that you're like, I want to be done. This is just hell.
No, one of the worst shows I ever had was we're in Miami on Key Biscayne. It was a radio show, and I'm not throwing the radio station under the bus, but like it was at that Marine stadium on Key Biscayne, and
Cool.
It was like us and Brantley and somebody else and Montgomery Gentry, and just the advance was really hard. And there was one way in, there was one way out, and they put the buses in front of here's the buses, the Uber and Lyft stands right here with no security. And like I remember Jeff Gossett was on it with Brantley, and we were just like, what is going on here? Like, and like it was a tough day, and like they were telling us like we only had one runner, and like And you had they told me I had to walk Kip around the festival site. I was like, it's not happening, guys. Like, I need a runner. And then I remember he came off stage, and we're coming back to the buses, and the police officers would not let us through. And I jumped out, and I was like, no, we're going this way. And like, I kept walking. He goes, sir, you need to get back in the van. And they sent us all the way back into Miami and then back in.
Oh my God.
And there's probably the tour managers listening right now. I was like, no, you should have been more fierce. I was like, I couldn't. Like,
right.
It was embarrassing. But that was a hard one for me. Like, it was a tough one. Brutal. Just logistically, it was a challenge. Like, I felt like you're fighting the whole day, where it doesn't have to be this hard.
Well, when sometimes like not everyone at the venue knows their role, maybe, and like who to let, like even some people that are like checking the badge, making sure. And it's like, once you see that person has a badge, remember their face and just let them go. Yeah. But I also respect the hell out of security guards that do their job, because it's actually scarier when they don't stop you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry, that was a bad one.
No, I asked the question. You're not going to get any backlash. If you do, I'll let you know. I'll send you every DM about the mean things.
I'll be saying, who's this?
Okay, I want to do rapid fire.
Okay, go.
Okay, first concert you ever went to?
I think it was either Weird Al or For Him. Like,
whoa.
I don't remember which one it is.
That's fun.
Yeah.
What happened to him? Is he still doing stuff? Weird Al?
I think he still tours.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's go Weird Al. First concert you ever worked?
It had to have been at the Wild Horse. Probably like, man, it would have been sometime in 05 or 06 at the Wild Horse. We did a lot of Phil Vassar. We did a lot of he did a lot of privates there. Maybe CMA Fest. I'd have to look.
Is life getting crazy right now? Because we're like a month away from CMA Fest for you.
It's not too bad.
Okay, that's great.
I like CMA Fest. It's one of my favorites.
Well, everyone's in town.
Yeah, and I have a list of like all our artists, and I just go from stage to stage and check it out. And
that's fun.
They do a good job. Like it's good production. It's well communicated. It's just communicating the details of the day. Like, you got to go to the Music City Center, get your stuff, and then go away. Like,
right.
And then you got to plan out your day. Like, give yourself some time. But it's good for everybody. I've always liked CMA Fest.
This is great. Yeah. I love to hear that. Wildest things that's ever happened on a travel day, or worst?
I think my cool one that I like was, my fun one was I started in Atlantic City, layover in Chicago, and then ended the day like in Anchorage. Like that was what? Fun. That was fun. And also that Alaska, that Australia flight, like when you get back to LA before you left, like that's always neat.
Why?
Because of the time. Like if you fly from Sydney to LA, you get back before you left, because it's like a day. It's mad.
That's crazy. Yeah, how often did you go to Australia?
I've only done Australia maybe 3-4 times.
Okay, that's cool. And what were you doing? Like, what do you do in Alaska? What are the venues there?
They have the Alaska State Fair like every September.
Cool.
Yeah, and so it's like north up in like Palmer, Alaska, I think it is.
Fun.
Yeah, it's good.
That's you just saw the whole America right there in that day.
One day,
Jeez
right?
Louise.
Yeah.
What's your favorite venue to play?
I went to Guilford last year for the first time. I'd never done a show there.
Wow.
And Jordan Davis was there, and I went to his show, and like that was amazing.
That's everyone's favorite. I've never been. I gotta go there.
Guilford's great.
Why?
Guilford's great. Oh, it's the catering, it's the backstage, it's the hang, it's the front of house. They have movie theater seats in front of house for like for like so
really?
So they're not just like standing around front of house. It's a small stage, very small stage, but like the way they treat the people is great. It's just like Joe's in Chicago. Like, Joe's is a bar, but the way Ed treats his people, like he takes care of you. Like,
that's so cool.
It's that level.
What is something when you are touring, if you have to go on the road, what is like a piece of tech or gear that you have to take with you?
Always computer, right? Computer, phone.
Can you do your job with just that?
Computer, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting on my phone. Like, I don't like knocking out big tasks on my phone. I need to be like focused on my computer. But computer and phone, yeah.
What was the best like office that you've ever had set up?
That's a good one. This is cliche. Like those dressing rooms at the Gorge. Dude. If you set up out on the deck, you can overlook that. That's cool.
That's like the best.
Yeah, that's cool.
What was the worst?
I'm sure there's like some dive bars that have like the shower right next to the desk, right? But those are good.
Yeah. What is a best piece of advice that you've ever gotten?
I think there's a couple layers to that. There's, say yes, show up, have a good attitude, work hard. And then another layer is understand what everyone else does around you to make their job a little bit easier. Like if you have a little bit of understanding what everyone else does, whether it's the business manager, the artist, the whomever, and you can take one little extra step to help them out to make their job easier, it'll help everybody. I learned this years ago with working with Flood, the business management, that I think in 2014 or 15, I tried to go completely paperless on like my receipts, on my income reports, and like all that stuff. And I tried to lean on to like what the business manager's process was to make it easier on them.
Wow. And do they love that?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
But you just want to make their job. They have a hard job. Business manager's hard.
Yeah.
That's like a tedious sitting in an office all day job, and it's hard.
When I got off the road, I really thought that that's it. That's how I'll get stable. And then I was like, wait, it's an accounting job. What am I doing?
That's hard.
Do this? Yeah.
That one's tough, and
tough.
Yeah, and you just want to make their day a little bit easier.
Yeah. And it's like all the blame always goes on to them too. It's like, oh, business manager's not paying me enough or whatever. It's like
that's just someone that doesn't understand what they do.
Right.
They don't understand all the facts.
There you go. It's just that gives you more empathy in who you're working with
Correct.
too. Knowing that the caterers were in at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And knowing that the PA didn't go to sleep until 2.
Understanding all of it. Like just understanding a little bit what goes into everyone's day.
Yeah.
Job just makes it easier on everybody else.
So would your least favorite kind of personality trait in someone on the road be like ego then? If you're only thinking about yourself?
I think laziness.
Ooh.
I just don't like. You want to be around people that are going to work hard, right? And have respect for other people's space and time and what they're doing. It goes back to just, yeah. Let's say ego. I mean, you're going to have egos, but like, have respect for other people's time and space. Yeah.
Is there anything else that, any other words of wisdom you would want to impart before we finish? Is there anything that, why people should come into this industry, why people should not be in this industry?
As a tour manager, I mean, you got to remember, it's not about you. It's about you serving everybody else to make sure everyone else has what they need for their day to do their job to eventually get that artist on stage, right? That's what it funnels down to. But it should be fun at the end of the day. And it should be like, it is a privilege to do this. I know it's a little cliche, but it's a privilege to do it. But you got to work hard, show up, have a good attitude, and do it on minimal sleep, right?
What a perfect job right there.
It's hard.
I love it. Ryan, thank you.
You're welcome.
You were the man.
Do you remember when we had lunch and do you remember what celebrity we saw? You don't remember this?
Was it?
I don't know if this is gonna make it in the cut, but
was
it'd
it
be
Reese?
cool if you could cut to it. No. Do you remember? I was like, that guy looks familiar, and you're like, who is this? I said, that's that guy from the Turned Down for What wedding video. Do you remember this?
Barely. Jeez,
okay.
Louise.
Anyhow, I'll find it.
No, you need to find this video.
Yeah, it's the video of this guy like rocking out the Turn Down for What, and then the DJ just goes to like a slow song on like the drop. I was like, it was that guy.
Okay, good. We're gonna put it in here now.
Okay. It was definitely.
Oh my
him.
God! And we saw him at Soho when we met.
I think so. Yeah.
I remember I was like, this dude has no online presence. You wiped your face from anything on the internet.
Really never there.
I didn't know who I was meeting with. I was like, who's Ryan? And they show him like, okay, cool. This is Ryan, apparently. I forgot we met with that, or we saw him.
They just walked by, yeah. Anyhow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, you rock. Thank you again for just all your support in this. Like,
you're welcome.
And I'm really glad you're getting use out of gigs. And like, we're going to just keep making it better.
I use it a lot.
I know.
Sometimes share it a lot, but like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, Red Light's using it.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You rock.
Cheers.